Welcome to the meeting today. We have a few folks on Zoom and a few in person. Thank you for sharing your sunny Thursday with us. So today's meeting is on MLK Jr. Park project updates, and we have a few things on the agenda. Perimeter security recap for MLK Park, MLK Jr. Park Casino and status of it, greenhouse rehabilitation, vandalism concerns and park safety, MLK Monument Plaza, as well as this year's special event and partners. These are some familiar faces that you might see in the park system. Troy is our district supervisor for MLK. Bethany mainly works out of the greenhouse, the head grower. And Natalie McGrady, special gardens manager who manages the John E. Brent Garden by the Science Museum. So just a quick recap on this project. It was completed late last year. So a recap in case anyone has not been to the park recently or like in the summertime, because we had winter, right? So we had wood bollards installed at a lot of the entrances, and these bollards are removable per request. Usually when there's a special event, and if coordinated with the city and Olmsted, it can be removed if, let's say, you need a specific route to bring in equipment or tents, etc. So that is as part of special events permit. It cannot be something where we get a call on the day off to be removed for any resident. It's only when there's permits and when there's a reason that has been approved by all parties. There is what's that called? Boulders, stone boulders across the perimeters of the park, and the reason for these perimeter security is to limit vehicles driving into the park. We've seen that happening before the boulders and the bollards were put in. We still see it happening. People find loopholes or areas where there's no bollards or boulders, and they somehow manage to get into the park. So we are trying to hopefully shift behavior and cultivate a sense of park pride, prepare for the parks and the grass, so that we can ensure that the park is available for everyone. So if anyone is interested, basically this is a map of what has been done across the park. I won't go into details. We touched on this in the previous meeting, but if you are interested in finding out the details, these slides will be online and you can check it out later, or you can reach out to me and I can walk you through them. It's basically the entire park.
You see, one quick note.
Yeah.
Since we're on that, Gina and I had talked some time back about making contact with the greater community and to become one of the owners and responsible for the maintenance of Martin Luther King Park. We never pursued that publicly as we should, but I think we're going to get together now as we're coming into Juneteenth, Pine River Union, all these other things that are happening, to make people feel like this is their park.
Mm-hmm.
And as a result, responsibility for its upkeep and maintenance belongs to the community. And what is happening, we've got a couple of negative people who are saying that you're trying to keep people out of the park by having stones. Now, stones have been around every park where there wasn't some kind of control of traffic. And because some people are still doing or trying to do damage in the park by driving into areas, and we are the only park that I'm aware of that has benches in the park where people can actually go up and sit down and have a bunch. Am I correct?
There's many other parks that have benches, but MLK does have a lot of benches. And Joanne here can tell you all about benches.
And the only reason I'm mentioning that because you have people that are listening. We are, first time we've been together, I've seen Gina for a while, but we used to meet more frequently. And I see my brother, Doug Brown, but I think maybe it's something we need to kind of get together on a little side, right? And you should push it from your end for me to come by and have a few words to say whatnot. Because it becomes ownership, it becomes a pride thing.
Yeah.
Then we'll look out for each other, looking out for the park.
Absolutely.
Right now, somebody wants to go on a picnic, they want to drive right up to the table, put the lunch on the table, and drive down her street, up side, over the town. We don't even want to go there too long because we have other agenda items. That's fine. So maybe we need to arrange some kind of publicity that focuses attention on the fact that this belongs to us. Our famous person, named after him, in the heart of our community. It's our responsibility.
Thank you.
See if we can do something like that.
So the last incident, how did they manage with all of the boulders to go into the park to do it more than? How did they get it?
Gina lives right now.
Yeah, she got it.
They find a way.
Her history,
And
yeah.
I was trying.
So there's actually,
an
yeah, there is an area where there isn't any boulders, and it's mainly because it's an ADA accessible pathway entrance. Yeah, so that, and it's right by where our garages are, so we are able to keep a closer look. But when there's no staff there, and so that is a pathway there, so it's only one area. And people, if they have like huge trucks with like huge tires, you can go over the boulders, unfortunately. So it's still a deterrent, and when that happens, it's obvious that it's intentional. Because I think the boulders and the bollards is a sign to tell you, do not drive in the park. But if you still do it, it means you intentionally.
And some of you drive and spud your cars and that kind of stuff. Then it looks like across the street.
Let me know where I live at. It's ridiculous.
It's amazing. People.
Yeah. So we're trying to, Brother Bow's point, we are trying to create a park pride. And I mean, it's true, people who use the parks all year to all the special events, to the special event organizers, to work with them closely on making sure that they are being held accountable as well, to tell their attendees, please pick up your trash after yourself. Please do not bring grills and pour your coal or your charcoal onto the ground because it burns the grass. It's like different things like that. Yeah. So it's,
It's difficult to catch them and find.
yeah,
Well,
so we're
well-
trying to work together on that.
You know, but here, go ahead.
This is a Zoom person. Could we maybe come up with a very short, catchy phrase, sort of like, grills out, tires out, I don't know, just, 6, 8 words. And then ask event organizers as part of their agreement with Olmsted to put this catchy phrase somewhere on their marketing so that people just hear it and see it event after event.
Good thought.
What was the catchy phrase again? Grills out, fires out.
So that's just a
But,
thought.
that was just a little example. But, my thing is, as you already know, it was mentioned before that anyone that has a special event, they gotta get a, insurance policy.
They do, yep.
Absolutely.
So, what is the insurance policy for? When that park get torn up, you go up to that policy, you put in a claim.
We do.
Instead of Olmsted and the city taking a rap of paying these bills for maintenance, that's an event.
And we do that.
Right,
So,
okay, but wait a minute, but
Yeah.
that's one thing.
Mhm.
But when, and even when the event goes on, the event planner can't say, okay, we gotta watch everybody, okay. But on that application, it also asks, do you have security? So I feel that that needs to be enforced.
Mhm.
The application that we all fill out,
Yep.
it has to be enforced because the issues that we're having is on the application.
Mhm.
And when you have the meetings with the event planners and you point that out and let them know how serious it is, they are not gonna wanna claim on their policy because of their event. No, they can't control everybody that's in the park at that time. But you have security.
Sure.
That's why you have security.
Mhm. So put it as, make sure to remind them as part of your security plan, please make sure people don't drive on the grass, or make sure you have, don't pour your charcoal on, it's like things like that you're saying. So emphasize on park rules to the security side of things. We can check in on that. I will check in with our special events coordinator on how they handle the security portion, because they do need a security plan. So yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you.
But we said that, years ago.
And that makes sense. I feel like
Yeah.
we have done it probably because it's very logical. I just don't know if it is enforced on your end,
It's
because
not
we don't have,
enforced. It's
we don't
not.
have-
I'm not gonna
yeah.
sugarcoat nothing. It's not enforced.
we don't have,
And it hasn't been.
our staff cannot be on site to enforce it.
I'm not talking about the
Yeah.
staff. I'm talking about if I have an event
Mhm.
and all these people is my security.
Yep.
I'm gonna be on top of them. Listen, make sure, wherever you see a grill, just make sure this is what you have security for.
Yeah.
The event planner cannot watch it all,
Mhm.
but this is why you have on the application, do you have security? Is it private or professional, whatever, how they ask on the application? You have it on the application.
Mhm. Yep, so we
So
can,
when you have the meetings for the event planner, that's when you need to stress it, so the event planner can make sure they stress it to their community, their, committee. Listen, they're coming down on these issues.
Yeah.
We need to make sure, because I'm gonna tell you, you know, I see a lot, but I'm gonna tell you, I don't care how much we keep having these meetings about this, I still see a lot.
Mhm.
And I'm not gonna blame it on the event planners, I'm gonna blame it on security.
Of the
Because
people
you
who have
can't
to
call
do it.
911, because they're not coming.
Mhm.
Can I-
This is not a
can I
priority
chime in?
call for them.
Being on the board of some
So-
of the events,
So hold
I
on one
think
second.
some of them are more in tune to all this and others, some you really pay more attention to what's happening and enforce it with all the people that are gonna be under their umbrella,
Mhm.
and some of them are more lax. So that, like she's saying, you really have to, it has to be enforced on the security company, they're getting paid. Okay? And they're getting paid to do a job, and they have insurance too. Everybody got insurance.
Exactly.
And everybody needs to be held accountable for whatever they are being paid to do. The fire company has to get fire insurance. If you have any vendors that have anything that's gonna be lit, there's a process that you have to go through with the city. But everybody has to be enforcing whatever entity that they're in charge of, right?
Yep.
So that, it needs to be in writing and enforced by the city. And I think if it's an Olmsted Park, you need to reiterate that from a Olmsted standpoint, like she said too. And that way they hear it more than one time and they understand what the consequences will be.
Yep.
And that way, you know, and have some consequences, maybe
Right.
list some fines or something.
But,
Right, that's what I
but the
said.
thing is,
Sometimes.
the consequence is going after that insurance policy, because they don't want no hit on their
List the fines
insurance
for
policy.
if you violate.
It ain't no fine, you gonna get the money from that.
Say, they should be. They should be.
Brother Val, go ahead.
The whole purpose of the insurance is to hold the city harmless.
Right.
Anything that's done. In your case, it's to hold the Olmsted harmless, so that the insurance has to pay for any damage that anything is done on the Juneteenth or the Pioneer Reunion, or we did this for 30 years at Shays Buffalo and Kleinhans. They were city-owned properties. Our insurance had to name them on the policy.
That's right.
Like it is on the policy we got for BAM.
Yep.
That's the only way we can
Mhm.
get the coverage and get recognized as an official 501c3 organization is to have insurance.
Yep.
And it holds the city harmless, so we don't have to worry about anything we do in the city, because we cover.
Yeah.
Well, Olmsted is on there as well.
Yep, we're held harmless as
Yeah.
well.
Gotta have the same, but this not, that's because you folks, unfortunately, haven't drilled this. Now, you got Brother Brown here, he's been around with Juneteenth since I can remember. But he's always been responsible.
Mhm.
The people that's been associated with him, you're not gonna have any much of a problem with Juneteenth.
Exactly.
But that's because
Exactly.
they got an organized group of folk that take care of business.
Mhm.
But, and the group that she's with it, but that's not enough. It's gotta be the public
Yes,
assuming
yes.
the fact that this is, we own this, is ours, let's respect it and take care of it.
Mhm.
It's our ground.
I think Gina made a good point too, because even when I had my event last year in Trinidad Park, it's not as big as MLK, but I had to pay for a permit, go through the process, pay the
Absolutely.
fee, have the insurance, and then another group came in and had their own event in the other side of the park, put up, was grilling, had people selling vendoring, had
Yes,
lounge
it was.
houses, and
We didn't even know.
and they didn't have a permit. And I called the police.
Mhm.
I had actually a community police officer at my event.
Mhm.
So he said, well, you have a permit. So I said, it doesn't matter. Our permit's for the whole park. They're at the basketball. Should they be held liable if something happens? They're not under my policy, right? So.
Yeah,
he-
so-
He went over there and he talked to them.
Yeah.
And he asked them, would they collaborate with us?
Mhm.
They ended up coming
They didn't make them
in
leave.
some of our.
I would have, yes, I would have had to make them leave.
But yeah, and that's a valid point, because, that happened, a situation happened when we had our event. But what I did, the lady, it was sad because she started having a birthday party for her little son, and he crying, they gotta leave the park. I said, no, you don't have to leave the
I
park.
didn't see.
But I wrote out a letter, a piece of paper, and I had her sign it, and had some witnesses sign, We're not liable for anything happening around this park where you are. I mean, in an emergency like that, do something like that, the police ain't gonna do nothing,
No,
they're not gonna do
They're
nothing.
not, but the community police officer, he documented it and everything too, and had her name and her organization name, because they had a big old sign, there was a dedication for a mom who had passed away.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't know that.
Right, but you gotta go by the book,
How
though.
you do, what you do.
Yeah, so.
When
I
they say public
totally-
park, they don't understand what public means.
Yeah.
It means you can come in there with your family and do your thing. You can't have no big event with 50 to 100 people coming
Exactly,
in the
yep.
park to do what they wanna do because it's a party.
You're violating city ordinance,
You are renting something, it is an event, and you need a.
and you're selling.
Oh, but they don't think that way,
Mhm.
they don't think that way.
Yep, totally
Right.
get
That's
where-
education, that's education.
Yeah,
too.
but we
So,
go.
I just had.
So I understand where you're coming from. We will take that into account and make sure that we emphasize to special events organizers this year, again, about security, to enforce it with the security companies, and to emphasize it to their attendees on social media, whatever they do with promotion, to take care of the park that they're using, right? They want to have the event again the following year, they should help us with taking part.
Okay, well, can we clarify one thing before we go something else? Okay, when you remove the boulders for people to set up,
The bollards.
the ballers, not the
Yep.
boulders, the ballers. What is the policy you guys have in place for that? I'm asking you this because although they have those removed, those vehicles will sit there all day.
In
Now,
the,
is this something that you guys are agreeing with, to let them sit there all day in the park?
this one is a process that the city special events department and our events department have to work with together. I have to find out more about the process. I think it's more of, it's an agreed upon decision. So it's not something where you can, so for example, I don't remember which event, but they did not include in their permit that they wanted us to remove a bollard.
Mhm.
So on the day of the event, they wanted us to remove the bollard, but Troy, our staff on duty
Mhm.
that
Said
day,
no, 'cause you
did
didn't
not
request
have
that.
the tool.
Right.
So I was like, you did not request it in your special events permit. We don't have the tool to remove the bollard right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it was tough
Mhm.
because it's part of the process, which is why we have meetings, which is why we talk to you ahead of time, like what is your route for your tent vendor to come in?
Mhm.
And then we agree upon with them and ask them things like, okay, do you need to have access? So let's say if it's a food truck
Mhm.
and a food truck is at a certain area where they have to stay for a period of time. Food truck's not a good point because it's usually in a parking lot. But let's say if it's something where they need to access it and stay for the entire time, if it's agreed upon and approved, okay. If the agreement is you come in, unload and leave, then that
That's
is the
one thing.
agreement. So.
But they don't, now Juneteenth has people all the way around. They're
And they
organized.
never, I
They
never
do
seen them
setups and
sitting in
they're
the
organized.
park. And that's what we gotta clarify, because it was mentioned before that they do, no vehicle is supposed to be on that, inside that park, period, okay? So to load, unload, okay, fine, but to sit a heavy vehicle on that property, when you all just spent all that money to get it, the pavement done over and all this,
I think
to
it,
let a
yeah,
heavy vehicle sit on there all day, you're gonna send a signal to other people
sure.
that's watching, well, that vehicle is over there, so you guys gotta sit up here and make this plain and simple. Either you load and unload, or you can let them sit there through the whole event, because that's gonna be the issue.
No, I see where you're coming from. And I think it really depends on why the vehicle needs to seat that.
It don't.
So
I
that is
think-
something that is part of the special events permitting process.
We do have other items.
But
so
that's a
we
good
need to move on. But the thing I think comes in, when you meet with the organizations, a clear explanation
Yep.
of what you need to have from them in order to give them the use of the facility.
Mhm.
And it should be clearly understood. There will be no vehicles or whatever in writing.
Yep.
And then when they understand it and sign it, it's legal.
Yep. And it's
So don't
agreed
come
upon.
back to me 2 weeks from now and say, I didn't understand what you meant when you said we can't park on the lawn.
Yep, that's a good
So
point.
we
Thank
need to
you.
move on, because that's something we need to work on though, quickly.
Yes.
Because it's
I mean, this is
coming.
also,
It is. This is Sarah from Zoom again. I 100% support everything I'm hearing from Brother Bell and Gina. And I think we probably need some talking points for whoever is representing either Olmsted or the city during the permitting process to make sure they cover everything. And then it also sounds to me like there's kind of a project, and I doubt we can get it done necessarily now for the summer, but definitely during the fall and winter months, to go out to, block club meetings, maybe after church services, and do a little tabling and make sure we talk about some of this widely through the community.
There's enough information to be sent out to people they can get an understanding. This is a science, you know, whatever they call it. This is
not rocket
nothing,
science.
no, this is nothing
Oh, I know.
that we have to see if we, there's already a template that's been out there for this.
Here.
So if I've been doing it from 40 years ago, I mean, come on.
I guess one of the things that we are trying to establish, we did this maybe a year or two ago, at the end of the year, to bring the major special events in each park district together for a debrief meeting.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
at that meeting, we can emphasize again, all these guidelines that y'all talk about.
And you guys-
Security, yes.
Then you have
and
the same criteria, so everybody
Exactly, yeah.
understands, nobody's being favored.
Yep,
It's
no
not-
one, this is fair,
Right.
it's
You all
across
have to
all
follow the
special
rules.
events.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, we'll move on
Thank
to the
you,
next
ma'am.
one, but
But
thank
one
you,
thing-
it's very good, I appreciate it.
So when they do move the bollards for them to set up, they're allowed to pull in to set up only and to break
then get
down
out
only and not to sit there on the
Right,
grass.
you got it.
That's the thing. That should
Exactly.
be
Put your
specified
stuff up
and
and-
definitely
And going out.
something visible for them to see. Entry into the park is for setup and breakdown only.
So I will check in on the special events process for that, because I don't have an answer.
and the
exactly
city has
right now.
some
Yeah,
pretty stuff, rules and regulations, because I was in charge of the special events committee under Griffin. Yeah, I was the chairman, I mean, doing things, the Cell Park and all those places. So
Cool.
if there was a set of rules, they were clear, and if you wanted to participate or enjoy any of these parks or wherever that the city had anything to do with, like the Cell or something, we used to have big band presentations over here, if you remember.
yep,
Mhm.
thank
yeah.
you.
I
Alright,
guess
so-
I'd like to add one other thing too, which is that we know the city budget is going to deteriorate quite a bit the next few years because the city's not in good financial condition. So that means Olmsted's budget is probably going to be constrained. So I think it really is important to start pursuing insurance claims for some of this damage instead of just.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We do,
Absolutely.
trust us, we do pursue
Yeah,
insurance
you
claims when we
just be the
can.
bad guy if you have to, but don't let people just.
Sometimes it's
It's
when you
hard.
don't know who caused the damage,
Witness,
let's
no
say.
witness.
That's
Then
true.
you can't pursue. Let's say if something happened overnight and no one took a photo of the car plate, then you can't pursue it. Or if it's a park user who just did it yeah, so sometimes it's tough, but when we have identification and we can pursue it, we do
Okay.
do our due diligence to get.
Well, we're gonna go ahead, but I'm gonna say this real quick. You guys will be, working with 311. Me and I know another lady have sent several pictures in with license plates. Cause they told us a long time ago, if I have license plates, they'll get a ticket in the mail. Nothing happened. So you got proof.
Okay,
So.
thank you.
Go ahead, yeah.
Yep. So next item is on the casino building in MLK Park, and this is the building by the splash pad, basically. So there was a series of break-ins and vandalism in 2023 that caused a kind of like a stall in the process for activating this building. However, so the city is now working hard on repairs and the insurance side of things. Olmsted, we're trying to get updates, but we are supporting them in whatever way we can. In the meantime, we, as a community, I'm hoping to have some ideas from everyone, a consensus on where to put a garbage dumpster in the future when this building is activated. So it's not something that we have to decide now. There was a
Preliminary.
yes, so
Okay.
a preliminary suggestion of having it at that pad over there. And that's the whole reason why the pad was paved, is to put the dumpster. But there was some feedback from a neighbor that it is, how should I put it? It will affect the view of the park. Neighbors who live here, like the view of the park for them, basically. So we understand that concern and we try exploring other options, like working with the Science Museum on whether we can share a dumpster. That didn't really work out because y'all are full capacity as well. We considered putting the dumpster at the greenhouse side, which is across the road. That was tough too, because it's a little far from the casino. So like imagine if there is a business in the casino building, and if every day they have to roll their trash across the street or somehow transport their trash across the street to the greenhouse building over there, that would not work. And on our end, putting the dumpster in our staff area is not, it's just for security reasons, is not allowed because we don't want outsiders to enter our garages. Or if they forget to lock it up or like different things like that, there's the concerns around that. So that location was also ruled out. So we are back to square one with this location and we are a little bit in a tight spot. So any thoughts?
Yes,
Oh,
I
hold
have
on.
Me
because.
too, I'll follow.
Yeah, middle hours makes a difference, so. yeah, go
Oh,
ahead.
okay.
I listen, because I got another.
You always got another event.
I know.
That's the story of your life.
How large is the area that you need to, you know, and is it in these specifications that the city ordinance would make in order to put it there, and does
Yeah.
it have to be concrete, or can it, I mean, does it have to be a concrete slab, or it should be near the building, because that's where the concessions are gonna be. So if it's too far, that would really be redundant.
Right.
So the dumpster should be on ideally a pavement, not on the grass.
Okay,
And
And
so
I
how
throw
tall?
that it's not
basically-
acceptable.
yeah.
Not only got to be permanent close, but it's got to be high enough where something be put in there, people can't get in and out.
Yeah, so the idea was to have the, let's say wherever the dumpster, let's just go with this location, for example. We are open to planting like a taller bush around it to hide it a little bit, to conceal it up. And this location seemed to work because it's a little bit, it's far away enough from the splash pad, so it's not near to where kids are playing. Because if it's too near to the casino building, so let's say if there's a food business in there, we want to make sure that people who are in the building enjoying their time, let's say if they're changing or like having a snack or whatever, that I guess you don't smell the trash specifically. I'm not exactly sure how to explain that part. But it's basically far away enough from the splash pad and the casino, but also close enough where a business owner can use the pathway there to bring their trash there. And also we need a location where whoever's picking up the trash from the dumpster can access it easily, which is why, so you see how there's a park entrance there and there's enough room for, what do you call it?
Truck.
A truck to load, unload, empty the trash and put it. So which is why this location was thought of initially.
But if you put another shrub there, that resident, are they gonna complain about that being too high?
I'm not sure. So
Okay.
as much as, oh, sorry, go ahead, Gina.
No, yes, they will complain. I got several calls, I didn't even know it was over there, from the homeowners over there. And no one knew that a dumpster was gonna be there, and that's not their only concern about they can't see the park.
Mhm.
They were talking about rodents and everything else. This lady screamed my ears off talking about that. I didn't even know it was open until I came over and seen it, but I understand.
Of
They live
course,
right
yeah.
here. So they talked about rodents running back and forth and the smell as well.
I
So
get it.
the casino is way over here.
Yep,
There was no other where closer to put it than way over there. That's a long way they gotta come to bring it from the casino anyway. To just put it over there and then not even to notify any homeowners that live right there.
there's no dumpster right now.
I know it's not, you know I know it's not there. What I'm saying is, that's their problem. And I don't blame them. If I lived over there, y'all would have heard from me too.
Of course.
It makes no sense to put it right there and the homeowners live right there.
Mhm.
And
So,
one lady,
yeah.
she been there for over 60 years. She was so pissed off.
Yeah.
I said,
So,
mother,
which
just
is-
wait, let me find.
Which is I totally understand. So right now, we are trying to come to a consensus where if the community wants whatever we want in the building would determine whether we need a dumpster. So let's say if you want a restaurant, you definitely need a dumpster. But let's say if you want something else, more of like an event rental, maybe you don't need a dumpster, because an event, maybe you need special events totes whenever you rent a building, but you don't need a dumpster. So like, it depends on what we want in the building too. So if let's say we come to a consensus where the dumpster is definitely out of the question, there's no good location in MLK Park to put it, then we know we can rule out a restaurant, rule out can't think of anything else that needs a big dumpster. I think mainly a restaurant. We can- yeah. So like maybe a food service vendor has to be super limited and have to be able to fill out, like use special events tools, things like that. So these are the factors involved in guiding this conversation. And again, this project is on hold, which gives us time as a community to decide. Yes, brother.
And the reason you're doing that is because you're not having any cooperation in the city who owns and operates that casino. It has not been in communication with people in the Conservancy or people in the community that much. There hasn't been any combination of meetings where it was to decide what kind of facility do you need to provide refreshments or whatever it is to be. And it's been over there now under the same limbo situation for years.
Yeah.
It took years to get it fixed up. And then when they fixed it up, it couldn't accommodate city meetings and things that we wanted to figure would have multi-use or multi-purpose. And then the Conservancy has nothing to say about it. It's in the park that they run it on, but the casinos under the city, it's been a disaster. And now they broke in on top of that after spending $500,000, putting in a kitchen and all that stuff. And some of the young people went in there, they figured $60,000 worth of damage, knocked it down again. So we still don't have, so we
Okay,
have no refreshment.
okay, but the big, I don't mean to cut you off, Brother Bill, but the whole concern of feedback that I get
Sure.
is why isn't the casino gonna be back to where it was before the renovations was done? We didn't ask for a restaurant. I don't know who came with that idea, but everybody who's called me and even spoke to me said, where the restaurant come from? I don't know where the restaurant came from. So
Yep.
it needs to be back the way it was when Brother Brown was in there and Joyce Nixon. It was for the Crusaders, it was for a community event. And then if they wanted to have an event, that's what that building was for.
So then.
So we ain't talking about no restaurant. I mean, really.
We're not restaurant people in no park.
Right.
Anyway.
We want to have it where we have, like, if Debbie want to celebrate her birthday, a nice event. We're not talking about having no
That
crazy.
rental space. So
Oh,
So there's
I
not
didn't
a
do that.
decision made on
There's
what-
still gonna be
there
something.
hasn't been a decision. Yes.
So when or if is the city going to hold community engagement?
Well,
meetings
just
for the
that.
Public for that specific question for us to maybe vote on
Yes,
it
so-
online?
When you bring it up.
So we.
Okay,
Folks,
Okay, all right.
so I totally hear you, and I agree. If the community doesn't want a
That's another
restaurant,
meeting.
want a restaurant.
why build a
Well,
restaurant, right?
no.
So it's important, so which is why I wanted to bring it up today.
Yeah, that's
Plant it in
important.
your head to know that there is opportunity to make sure, to gauge your neighbors, and what do you think? And when the time comes when we have a meeting specific to the casino, please come to the meeting. Because it's going to be
Oh,
important
absolutely.
for the community to make the voice heard,
Mhm.
just because.
Make sure it's well
Yeah.
publicized.
But
because
I'm
there's a lot
gonna
of
tell you,
people-
yeah, on the way here, a lot of people, I didn't know. I said, listen, I gotta go, but I'm gonna tell you now, Z. That restaurant is out. There's so many people that's been calling me, what's going on with the restaurant? And especially now, it looks like an eyesore. It looks like we got a dilapidated building in the middle of our beautiful park.
So as a,
You got the wood slats all around the window. I mean, it looks terrible over there. Not
that's
saying,
part of, yeah, that's part of the insurance claim process.
but
Yeah,
still,
that's another thing.
but those windows are done, correct? Aren't the windows done? Aren't they
I think
fixed?
they were I'm not sure what the vandalism includes, but a lot of it was
They
damaged.
did
I mean, a lot of the
nothing.
building parts. and some of the
Interior.
So
insurance.
how long does it take when you put in the insurance claim? 'Cause that's been,
This one is a city
Yeah.
building, the city's
Right.
handling the insurance, not us.
Yeah.
so they didn't tell you
They're
guys how
probably
long this
self-insured.
project
They're
has
working
been?
on it, yeah.
So when you say the city, you talking about Parks Department? The city, yeah.
I mean, it might be like, I guess so, yeah, buildings.
Okay, but Andy Rapp is on, not that he's, he's not
I
here
think
to
it's
defend
not
himself, but
Andy.
he is on the board, correct?
Andy is on the board, yeah.
Right.
It's not Andy that is managed, there's another department that does buildings.
Oh,
stuff.
Okay, so
right.
buildings,
That's,
okay.
that's right. Buildings and maintenance.
So they are handling the insurance part and all that.
They always.
But what I'm saying is, we the community have an urgency to have this repaired. It's been 2 years.
Quickly.
So
Yeah,
who
they're
is
working
it? I mean, we already had a Juneteenth. Who is it that we need to talk to get to? If it's not Andy, if it's building, we need to know, because I'll call them in the morning. We need to know who is it to talk to. We gotta fix that.
Yeah, so through this meeting, we'll follow up with Andy and Parks too. And Andy I know he is following up with buildings
Mm-hmm.
like very often because I'm on the emails all the time.
Mhm.
So I give him a lot of credit for that. I would say for now, if you have any thoughts on the question behind there, what do you think should be in the MLK casino?
Okay.
Write down some thoughts there just so that we have a gauge. Last year, we also did a survey on what people want in the casino and a lot of the MLK special events.
Mhm.
And people didn't want a restaurant. People wanted like a snack stand for kids to have a hot dog when they're playing. in the
Right, and
trash
that's
can.
for downstairs, and upstairs still should have been for community
Event
events.
rentals, yeah.
Not no restaurant where you're gonna pay an arm length piece of next to use it.
Yeah.
We can't, no.
All I
put it
wanted to
back the
say,
way it was.
all I wanted to say is, we use it for security. you can see the whole park the way it's
That's true.
constructed now
Exactly.
from up there in the casino.
That's a
And
good
if
point.
we don't have access to that view, it messes our securities.
Sure.
Not only that, we have no place to put security.
Mm, okay.
So they use the bathrooms over there. And then the community was out of not having bathrooms,
Yeah,
you know,
that's
enclosed.
really good to know. Definitely write down security for a
So-
special event.
I know it can be resolved now, but how long do you think it's gonna take for them to fix that casino?
So right now, what I heard is.
Okay, all right.
Uh,
I'm sorry, we're really holding this meeting up. It's not your fault.
no,
Sad
okay.
part.
Everybody's got something to
Yeah.
do, so if we can.
The city is working on the repairs and insurance. We are following up with them often to check in,
Mhm.
but they are facing some challenges because it was broken in multiple times. And insurance, yeah, so it's all the insurance. So more to come. We're on this, trust me. I want we want the community to have something in the casino that the community wants. We don't want you to have a restaurant that you don't even want
Right.
in the community.
No.
Yeah.
No, we
So
don't.
more to come, right? Next item, there's no updates on the greenhouse right now. It's also still in the planning process with internal stuff and working on a design phase with the internal staff. At the last meeting, I wasn't able to touch base on this, so I wanted to give everyone a heads up. So these are all locations for security cameras in the park. So there are security cameras by the casino, and these are monitored by the Buffalo Police Department directly. They let us know if anything happens. You wanna take a photo of it?
Yeah. Okay.
So all the green ones are monitored by the BPD. And then the tree by the greenhouse is monitored by our staff. Not greenhouse, the MLK Park bathroom shelter by our staff and also near our work area, the garage area. And this is because in the past, there have been like vandalism, people breaking glass in the greenhouse and different things like that. So we're trying to hopefully this would give us more behind the scenes action of what's going on when we're not there to have supervised the park during the evening time or post-work hours.
Okay, so when you guys leave, you won't see the camera until you come back in the next day, just to run them and see what went on.
I
Or will
believe, yeah,
someone have access that, like, it will go off on their phone?
sure. I'm not too sure about that, but let me check. Either way, I know that it's recorded, and if we ever need to, let's say something got broken and then we need to find out who are the maybe suspects who did it, we can reference a video. I'm not too sure if it's live feed into a person's phone,
Mhm.
but either way, there is that information.
So the cameras that's for the previous picture, are those, where are they around the casino?
Let's see. This one here,
Yeah,
it is outside the casino,
just those two?
and these are monitored directly by the BPD.
Now, were those on there when the vandalism took place?
I'm not too sure if they were put in after or before. This could have been a measure that was put in place because of the vandalisms, but if you really want to find out, I can find it.
I wanna find out because I was told that, there was cameras, but the cameras wasn't working.
Okay, so,
Then I was told that it was a vandalism that wasn't even reported. So it's been more vandalism that the community has known about,
mm,
but, I think it was maybe one camera at the time,
sure.
but yeah, you guys gotta tighten up with security.
So this is work in progress it was installed at least last year and I'm not sure exactly when or where the vandalism happened and in cameras, but we can check in on that.
Mhm.
Hi, Bradford. And you are? Nice to meet you.
Hi, folks, how y'all doing? Good to see you. Yes, sir. My pleasure.
Yes.
The modern technology has that availability now. We have 2 or 3 people in our church that have connected to our cameras that can go on or do, they can see at any time what's happening in and around the grounds
Mhm.
and also are alerted when something occurs, which means we got people close by that can be to our church within 5 minutes. And you'd be amazed how quick you can come, because I just missed a couple of people. I'm the 3rd person to call. I still get there within 10 minutes, and I get there in a piece of there, and do a walkthrough, and all that stuff.
We put you to work right
Well,
now.
we do say that. But just, I'm not saying that for any special except to say that it's important to have this line of communication. Because here's a lady that's right across the street, she sees stuff, took pictures and everything else,
I got
and
so many
reports them,
pictures.
and she gets very little action.
Yep.
And she's serious as a heart attack. I know.
Thank you.
Jesus.
All right, the next item
Okay,
is.
that's beautiful.
Yes, the lighting enhancement project at MLK. So this one, the specifications, the project is complete. We are kind of like in the phase of tweaking stuff as needed. We have about a year with the contractors. Let's say if there's something wrong with something, we have a year where we can get it back to them. It's almost like a warranty, I guess you could say that. Not any big changes, but any things that we need them to come down to Buffalo. They will come down once in the next few months to assess any problems. So some of the highlights of this project is the bollards are new around the plaza and along the pathways along the plaza itself. And these bollards lit up for aesthetics purposes and also for safety purposes. There's colored lighting from the higher lights. So let me remove this. So like these lights up here in the top right corner, those are lights that can change colors.
Change colors.
Yep. And
Look at that.
we will follow,
see
well,
myself.
likely, we would like to add this Monument Plaza as part of the Buffalo lit schedule that the mayor's office run. The colors will go according to their schedule, and based on events that are significant to the east side and also MLK Park, we can make the colors
Red, black,
specific
and
to.
green or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. So for example, for Black History Month, we can make colors entire month, one color that is significant to the Black community. Or let's say if it's on MLK's birthday, maybe a color that signifies his legacy.
Or the
Things like that.
19th of June.
Yes, or like for Juneteenth, like if let's say,
Keep that in mind.
so as part of the special events permit process,
Mhm.
we can work with you guys to determine like what is a light color that makes sense, maybe something that is relevant to your logo, so that the light colors can match the festival that's going on that weekend.
The advantage is that would be only seen in pre-activity times, if you look at, and in late evening.
Yes.
The problem is Juneteenth is over
It's over.
before it's really dark,
Yeah.
and you can't appreciate the lighting until after like during the summertime, 9 o'clock. You
Mhm.
go drive through there 9:30, quarter to
I'll
10.
take pictures for y'all.
That's right.
You go-
Unfortunately, Juneteenth will always be before the 19th of June. It looks like,
It seems to be more prominent now
right.
than it was.
Right. 19th is the actual holidays
Right.
to
Yeah,
celebrate. But we'll always have it that weekend before.
You do.
So on the 19th, we'll make sure we have it, especially
There
for
you
the
go.
19th.
Well, yeah, this, it
That makes
can be.
sense.
But
Yeah.
there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to celebrate the entire.
The whole month.
You can do it a month.
Well, the whole, the.
We're doing the whole month this year.
And put in place. It gotta be adjusted by remote, but once they're adjusted, bingo.
Right.
It can be the
So it's
same
it's I don't know, the control panel for the lights, I guess, is
two different places.
is managed by the staff, and we are new to this, so we're also learning this new technology, like. But so we're trying to come up with a process that makes sense, because I don't want to put our operations staff having to go and change the lights like every single week,
You can't do that.
because there's too
anyway.
much on them.
Right.
So, which is why we follow a schedule, and which is why we determine like, okay, for the month of February for Black History Month, it's this color. For the month of Juneteenth, we can have it as this color, things
Okay,
like
so
that.
that's all, you guys just caught on that, talk about
Right.
the colors for June, and that's that.
And you wouldn't have to change it. It's in Martin Luther King Park.
Exactly, so it makes sense because it's significant to that part.
Right.
Yeah, and the final thing for this new upgrade at the plaza is there are additional electrical outlets where people can plug in for special events purposes. So only approved special events can use electrical outlets. You can't really use it to like, I don't know, plug in an amplifier to check, to
That's
like
at each
amplify
end
music
of
on your own. That's
the
not
monument.
approved. Yes,
Are the outlets there, activated all the time, or are they something that gets turned on with the event permit?
it's kind of like in a lockbox.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, all right, so they can be unlocked, they're secured and then unlocked
Yes,
for you.
so like,
Great.
depending, depending on the special event, it's like to use specific
Yeah.
outlets, we can unlock it for the events.
For that event, yeah, which
Excellent.
is be scheduled.
Yeah.
And you can, if you wanna have something.
Sounds- Thank you,
Maybe
Devin.
that presentation. You haven't done anything. Steady.
Yes, we have.
Okay.
So just a
Okay.
a sneak peek of the colors. So I tried to do like as close as I can. So this is the group,
Yes.
the band group of the African American Museum. They've really helped us through this entire process of this project.
He's part of the team.
And you can see the changing colors, blue, green,
Green.
yeah. So
In other
the
words,
colors
our
change and it's super cool.
Next stand code. That's green.
Um,
Changes, you can change it.
A few final things, we have a lot of volunteer opportunities coming up, so if you're interested in helping out in the parks or getting involved or have anyone interested, you can reach out to us. This is the website. And, Bradford, sorry, your name again? Wanda, Bradford and Wanda, you guys came in late, but we wanted to touch base on the little activity we have going on. So for the MLK Casino, which is currently, I brought up just now. There's right now it's currently basically on the city's hands. They are working on insurance and repairs. So we are constantly getting updates from Parks Department and also buildings on the status of the casino building. But while we're waiting, we figured it will be, eventually there will be a more actual meeting that's focused on the casino itself. But to ask folks, like, what do you want in the casino? Because I know there was a lot of, what's the word? Conversation, disagreements around the dumpster about the location of it. And then, but a dumpster is only needed when there is specific businesses, like a restaurant. So if a dumpster is out of the question, maybe the result is a restaurant is out of the question. Unless the community wants a restaurant, you know what I mean? So as the community, we need to come to consensus or at least talk about it as to like what makes sense in the casino building. Is it an event rental space? Is it a ice cream hot dog stand that is seasonal? Changing rooms for kids when they're playing in a splash pad, things like that. So these are priorities that we want the community to help us identify so that when it opens, it makes sense. And that will also help us determine, like, do we actually need a dumpster? Yes.
Does the Conservancy can make a request of the mayor of the city to have a meeting about the casino?
Yeah.
So that the people can express their concerns about the kind of facility they want for just like a dog, a hamburger or something. I don't think we need a restaurant.
Okay, say what you said again. Restaurant. What about it? I don't think we need a restaurant. We need a service there. Yes, we do.
Oh, I'm not talking about not having food. I'm talking about having something where they throw whole dinners and stuff, like they do at any restaurant. Because I haven't heard too many people say they just want to access some kind of refreshments or food, period.
Concession. But, I have something to say about this.
No.
I'm glad you're back on it, because, before the renovations began, the community was fine the way it was,
Mhm.
okay? So whose idea was it to put a restaurant in? Because it wasn't the community.
I can say it wasn't Olmsted.
Okay, well, that's it, that's all. But what I'm saying is, I'm saying
Yeah.
that it should be back the way it was.
You say the way it was.
And the way the community, the way we had access to it before they renovated
Where they
it.
had access to it. Okay.
Yes,
So, yeah.
so I don't feel we really need to have a meeting with the mayor, only because the community has spoken. And if we need to have anything for the community to talk again, we can do that. But I don't think this should be dragging on when it's already been, boarded up for 2 years.
So regardless about it, the process for activating any building in the park system, you need to have community engagement. This goes for like Prospect Shelter and Prospect Park, same thing. We will have to go through the same process. We need community engagement we need a process where it goes through in the Conservancy side. There's a design review committee to assess the design and the design interior and exterior from an Olmsted standpoint. But there's also a community element where we ask the community, like, what do you want in this building?
Okay,
What
did
makes
you
sense
guys
to-
do that
so-
before already though?
We haven't done it for the casino building. We've updated based at these meetings for MLK, but we did not have a specific MLK casino building meeting with the community. And so when the time comes when we're ready, I commit to pushing the city to have it for sure. And we'll see how that goes. So I would say right now is an opportunity to ask your neighbors, like, what do you want in that space? And if you see that board at the back, please write down some things that you feel you want in that building. Like for me, I want ADA bathrooms for kids that are playing in the splash pad.
Okay, let me ask Brother Brown. How long was the Crusaders in that scene?
At least 15 years.
Okay, and before you guys start working in there or using it, what was it used for? Joyce Nixon had it, correct?
Yeah, Joyce had it.
For the
She
NICYO.
ran karate,
Mhm.
judo, I think
Activities, yeah.
we met there
That's so
Right.
cool.
for golf.
Huh?
That's cool.
So what I'm saying is, and may Joyce rest in glory, but what I'm saying is, it should go back to the way it was. It's not like you guys are doing something and then you gotta come back and ask me, do you wanna teach, you wanna do that? Put it back the way it was. The community had access to it.
Yeah.
If somebody wanted to have a wedding reception, they could. If they wanted to have, something that was decent, not tearing it up, we could still do it. But to put these renovations and now we gotta waste time to have all these meetings and talk to the community, say, well, what do you want? What do you want? You can get a lot of this going on, when, just put it back the way it was. Now, if people come up with another idea and there's enough people and then you gotta vote and do whatever, that's fine. But put it back the way it was. Me personally, I'm gonna say, I've been getting so many calls about this casino and I hear them and they're pissed.
Yeah.
The building's been sitting like that for 2 years, just with the boards on it, but way before then, even to renovate it, it was still, you can't use it. You can't use it. We don't know what we're gonna do. We don't know.
No, I hear you. So I understand that frustration. I really do. I mean, I remember when we had the summer bash event. Yeah, go ahead.
Just like to add one more thing.
Sure.
We were kicked out of that building with the thought that when they finished it, we could return.
Exactly.
Okay.
I thought it was crazy for them to kick us out, especially Joyce, and then turn around and name it after.
Oh.
Yeah, that was that.
Well, I did ask the
That
name of
doesn't bother me as much as they
I
had.
mean, that was fine.
Yeah,
Jeff was
she
happy
deserved
about it
She
and stuff
deserved
like
Yeah,
that.
she deserved
Because they had mentioned that there were two people being considered going there to have a food service operation. Then they spent almost $500,000 in the interior of that building, put in the equipment and stuff to make it active. But then whoever was interested in what, that went south. And then they went into a stall. And you didn't even hear any more about the casino until it got broken into.
Right.
And the guy stole the stuff, brought it outside. Then they say, well, it did well over $50,000 worth of damage. Then it shut down again. And now that's been months ago. And nobody's heard whether or not they put it back in shape. Are they gonna rebid it? And if they rebid, who are you rebidding it for or to do what?
Because that's for the restaurant, they bidding on RFP.
Well, they had that in mind, I heard a restaurant one time. So I
Exactly.
said, restaurant, well, as
So,
long as they got
yeah.
something that
That's
people can,
exactly-
while they're in the park, they want to
And
go
then
there and eat.
nothing manifests.
Hey, that's fine. Because that's what he designed the park for the people.
That's right.
Exactly.
That's
Ribbon
right.
up on
Exactly.
every-
I've been there 40
You
years.
mother-
Exactly.
That's-
So
enjoy
my
it.
question to you,
Sure.
it would be with regards to what we do have existing in it. What does actually exist in there now?
No.
What exists in it?
There's nothing,
No.
because we talked about having, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
It's currently closed up. It's not open to the public.
It's, I understand it's closed, that I know. I said, what exists in there? What is,
I believe there's
Cut.
some kitchen equipment that
that
was.
has been rebuilt or something from old? Because before we were under the impression.
Oh, they
that
got something.
Everything is new.
I don't want to get it from those who claim they did it.
We didn't,
Okay,
so let me
you understand?
clarify this.
I don't know.
Y'all understand me?
I don't know none of them.
Okay, we gonna put to the fire
That's all
right
we
now,
got.
that's what I'm saying. Hold on.
Let me
Wanna hear
let me
from you?
clarify.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
this is a city-led project. It's a city building. It's in our Olmsted Park, but we didn't lead the project for the renovations or the repairs. So the city had, I believe they had restored, like upgraded the building, like the bathrooms and the flooring, et cetera, and also implemented some kitchen appliances, I believe.
That's what-
I've not been in there since the upgrades were
I haven't
made.
either.
I have.
So the
I was
upgrades
in
have
there.
occurred?
They have, but
Yes, it's very
last year,
beautiful.
there
I've
was
been
a
in
lot
there.
of vandalism and
Nice.
break-ins
beautiful.
and things happened.
When you say things happen, let me use
Stolen-
that happening.
Stolen equipment,
Stolen
broken
equipment,
glass.
broken
Yeah.
glass.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So to your point, from what your recollection was, you said put up with that.
This one, I'm not sure. I don't know. I've never been in there, so,
Oh, okay.
but I
Okay.
hope so. Yeah.
So renovations and then things were stolen.
Things, basically they were break-ins. I don't know what was missing or like how bad the damage was, because I didn't go and see it. If you really
Wasn't
want to know, I
secure.
can find out from my staff.
Wasn't secure.
Yeah, it wasn't secure. All the questions need to come about because we just argue amongst ourselves. That
You know why? Because Conservancy runs the park.
The city owns the park.
That, yeah, I'll say,
Right.
that's an issue that we face at the Science
This is the lady
Museum
from the
too,
Science
is
Museum.
that the front steps construction, which I know was addressed in the fall meeting of last year, it's delayed and our renovations have been delayed, and we've heard that, you know, it is an eyesore, but because both the Science Museum and Buffalo Olmsted Parks Conservancy, we operate at the pleasure of the city because the city owns our land and our buildings. We don't have the first right or authority over any of the projects that are physically going on any of the buildings that we use, which creates a lot of frustration because people come to us, the Science Museum, or come to the Parks Conservancy and say, what are you doing with this building? And we look like fools saying, we don't know, it's with the city, but it is, and we don't know.
So
And
the-
it is extremely frustrating.
So the construction company that is doing this and all these delays with them is contracted to the city.
I believe so.
Do you know if these contractors are local?
I do not know. I know, Seneca Construction had been through at one point, but I'm not sure about the other ones.
So is there anyone within your organization that's assigned to address the city concerning what's going on with this project? I know you say you don't know, but there needs to be someone in place to find out, to get in.
Yes,
Yeah.
for the Science Museum, that contact is David Cinquino, our Director of Operations.
It's not her pay list.
Yeah, he was here last.
You understand?
And same thing for Olmsted. We check in with the city
Yeah,
on the project updates as well.
and if you want like email or contact information, I can provide that to you.
Okay.
So who was that person? Excuse me,
No.
I'm sorry.
David Cinquino.
You are.
For the Science Museum, it's David Cinquino.
Say, what is your name?
Oh, my name is Gabrielle Graham. I have 6 business cards. Some of you got them
You
already.
can list them up. but-
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but-
yeah.
Yeah, I
So
have a
what-
question.
Yes, go ahead.
What happened to the funding from, Governor Cuomo? They gave MLK Park 6 million when he was in office.
I don't know how to answer that question. So we had a lot of funding that was put into MLK Park in the past few years. I know a lot of state funding, so I'm not sure if it's the same part.
They came from the state.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if that's the same part you're referring to, but a lot of the funding that went to pathways and lighting improvements in the parks that were all completed last year. We did not have enough funding to complete the lighting project for the other half of the park, which is basically the casino side of the park. So the lighting project was done at the greenhouse side. We're still finding funding to improve the lighting conditions on basically your side of the park, the casino side of the
They
park.
explained to you how they ended up dropping the ball on, we met where they were. If the whole plan was set out.
There wasn't
you
enough
right,
money,
everybody, It just wasn't, and so
There
they
wasn't
just
enough.
decided they were on one side.
There wasn't enough money at that time, like with COVID and everything. Everything went up. It was tough. And I know it's not the ideal situation, but we also cannot do like a little bit here and a little bit there, kind of, yeah.
That's
And
what I was wondering, because I was like, why wasn't it fair and equitable to say, well, we'll do a little bit here.
Yeah.
Still do in and around.
I'm not sure the exact, I only know that funding was strapped and there
Yeah.
wasn't enough money to go around to improve the entire park.
You talking about the
So-
park system now, we're not talking about.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and they need a heavy budget, but they got a whole lot of problems.
Okay, well, hold it.
What they showed us, it
Mhm.
wasn't about the park
Mhm.
system, it was our park.
It's right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay, what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Governor Cuomo gave MLK Park 6 million. The last meeting we had with Brian, he told us Kathy Hochul gave us 6.6 million. I said, Brian, is that on top of the 6 million that Governor Cuomo gave us? He said, yes. So I'm not talking about no other park in this city. I'm
Yeah.
talking about MLK Park. I was told that Science Museum got 2.3 million for the stairs. Okay, and then the greenhouse got 1 million from Governor Cuomo's part. And I hated that this wasn't brought up when Debbie was here, because she's a state.
Sure.
But now we talking Kathy Hochul, I have not heard anything about that.
I'm not sure.
Wait a minute, hold up.
Yeah.
When I got into Wingo's office, I asked him, who's allowing this money? He didn't know. I called Debbie and asked her. She didn't know.
Mhm.
Okay, when you guys find out, you will know because you the state, you will know you the city, right? Right, so didn't hear anything. I heard through word of mouth, maybe the figures is off, I don't know, but it was 2.3 there and 1 million for the greenhouse. From that 6 from Governor Cuomo. So that change right there, I haven't heard nothing else. And then this 6.6 million from Kathy Hochul, Ryan told us at the last meeting he did, I haven't heard anything. So when I heard that you guys ran out of money for your project and now you ran out of money for lighting,
Where
what's
the money
going
go?
on?
I don't know. So we will.
I mean, I
will
don't
find out.
I need to, I just need to get that off my
Yeah,
chest
of course,
because
and thank you.
I'm
I
here like, wait a
appreciate it.
minute, what's going on with?
So thank you, yeah, thank you for bringing that. I'll check that. I'm not sure. honestly. But so back to the casino, definitely think about it. And when the meeting comes up, I'll be emailing the MLK group again about the meeting. Or like I don't know, maybe we'll do a survey or door-to-door knocking on asking neighbors. So more to come on that. I'm hoping this summer or at least late summer when we have more information on the casino bill. All right. So I have a member from the Eastside Parkway Coalitions. They have a meeting next door. So you just share a few things if you don't mind.
Hi, really quick, my name is Beth, and we invited the Liberty to simultaneous meeting. We're in the other room talking about the proposed wall. And I guess I wondered if anyone had any questions or how you're feeling about it. I'll let you know this, our group is organizing legal action. We are very opposed to the term. We're searching for plaintiffs in the neighborhood, and that's quite a bit. We believe that the research that we've done shows that we could restore the entire park with about half as much money, and actually a lot less than half if you take out the $5 million a year before inflation it will cost just to maintain this tunnel. We've got Humboldt Parkway and connect MLK until where there's a traffic study that proves that the commercial radial streets can handle the traffic. There was not 75,000 car traffic every way. That wasn't released to the public, so we had to foil for it. We've done a ton of research. I just want to let you know.
No, tell me, to that, the money that has been designated as for the tunnel, what's prohibiting them from taking those resources, putting into the rest of the proposal?
Why aren't they doing that? Yeah, basically because there was $1 billion available and the DOT, which manages only vehicular traffic, said, we want to spend all that. We'll take that. We'll do the biggest job possible.
Yeah.
And then we'll say, we fixed the east side. We spent $1 million. Yeah, they don't want to reroute traffic. They don't want to lose a highway that they can maintain, even though they have done a terrible job of maintaining it. It's actually 20 years beyond service life, according to them. So yeah, basically because they'll pay themselves the most to do that job. But I can also tell you this about the tunnel, it will not be done with local workers. I mean, some things might be, you might be a flag man if you're from Buffalo or something, but you're not gonna come in and blast that. That's gonna be a company from Texas or something. Whereas we could have local workers filling it in.
I'm very concerned of blasting as well.
Yeah, the blasting is not gonna be great for
It's
homes.
limestone, it's all kind of stuff. They do a lot of.
There's asbestos in some of the walls, so that's an issue. I mean, it's a pretty big disaster.
Wow.
So.
Beth,
If you want, yeah.
I have a question. Somebody just called me earlier today and said that they found some notes from, say, 27 years ago, that this tunnel was already approved and they come to the community just to ask us what we want, but they already had their mind made up 27 years ago. So what made me question, why do I keep hearing these public officials continue to say, where were you 20 years ago?
Yeah.
well, where were you 20 years ago? You was at the table where you already made a decision and you come to us 27 years later and then wanna ask our opinion? Wasting our breath, well, not really wasting our breath, but I'm saying, thinking that we have a say-so in something that's gonna take place in our community, what you already okayed it 27 years ago.
We spoiled the meeting, the DOT meeting with Block years ago, and don't get me wrong, or heroes for doing all that they did. Their original goal really was to restore the parkway, and the
Yes.
DOT said this, no, this is the restoration, you can get this 3/4 miles, that's the best we can do, and it was, in those meetings, and it was said, we don't wanna look like we're driving the project, but this is what we're gonna do, basically. It's corruption, like, that is.
And isn't the original plan available, for the public to see? The original plan of the rocks, wasn't it? I think it's
yeah,
public,
we should-
yeah, people need to see that, and they need to understand that there was no
I
tunnel.
think it is on.
No, they didn't want.
Yeah, they didn't want a tunnel, but, you know, it's sad because we don't come out. And it's happening right in our front yard, but we don't come out, and this is what we're gonna get.
The plans with this were made long before they started making the first move, when they started tearing down downtown areas for urban development. That lasted about 35, 40 years. I've spoken out, been on the record, if you haven't seen me, because to me, it's an absolute waste of money. Wasting the amount of money, where it's being applied, it's inefficient. First of all, there's no way possible to reconnect something that's been disconnected for 50 years. It was never that important to us. We didn't want to get on Humboldt Broadway because it was a better neighborhood. It was completely covered by Jewish and Italian people. My father bought a home on Winslow Avenue in 1942 or 3. And we moved out there. He couldn't buy the house. He was in the real estate business. Italian friend of his had to buy the house and sell it to him for $1. And then they picked it in our house. They didn't want any African Americans on Humboldt, period. And Dr. Scruggs was the first African American to buy a home on Humboldt property from my father. And I've been opposed to that because they cut me off. I live on Gillette. They made me a cul-de-sac because they put 198 West through there and cut my back street off. You should get to my house from Northern Avenue. Now you gotta go in my house and go to the, and cut around, come on back out of there. Only way. I'm still there because I love it and it's fine. But now they talk about another thing. We're gonna spend more money on this property, this mileage, than has ever been spent on any similar piece of land.
The most destructive highway.
And for what? For what? Listen, I got so much on my plate, otherwise, Brother Bell's on record, I've been recording. You know, so I mean, and for me to keep, I got 2, 3 other things, and I'm 95. I don't need any other stuff. I've been out there 70-some years, bro.
Yes, sir.
I'm still out there, so
But if there's any.
Jesus said, Brother Bell, you slow down now. I was deacon of the church, so I all that other stuff. It's been a pleasure. You know, I love you. You like one.
So we can be on the same.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Z.
Thank you all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. What's your name? I didn't catch it.
I'm sorry.
What's your name?
Renee Key.
Yeah.
Renee, R-E.
Yeah, yeah, that would be great.
Thank you, folks. And
Thank you, Steve.
Juneteenth itself, independent public responsibility. That's the museum, and then that.